Today, we're going to look at the founding of the colonies of Jamestown and Plymouth. In 1607, the first permanent English colony was founded in North America at Jamestown. It was established by the Virginia Company, which hoped it would profit from gold or other resources. And if you look at this illustration here, you can see where Jamestown was located. The problem was that most of the men and boys who established Jamestown were not prepared to start a colony. Most of them did not want to do any work. Because of this, they quickly used up their supplies and many later died. After their leader, Captain John Smith, returned to England in 1609, the colony endured a very difficult winter known as the Starving Time. Only 60 of the 214 settlers survived the winter. Now here's an illustration from a book about the Starving Time, and it's very symbolic as to what the colonists went through during this period. You can see the colonists are represented by skeletons, which symbolizes all the death that they had to go through during that time period. Jamestown's fortune soon turned when John Rolfe arrived and began to grow tobacco in 1612. Because of the favorable climate, warm weather, plentiful rain, fertile soil, tobacco became the first cash crop grown in the English colonies. Soon, tobacco was grown all around Jamestown. As tobacco became a major crop in Jamestown, the colonists soon realized they needed help. The colonists could not harvest all the tobacco by themselves. Indentured servants were first used to do this, but as their numbers decreased, they were replaced by slaves from Africa starting in 1619. In order to attract new colonists to the area, the British began to offer land to colonists who would make the trip across the Atlantic to Jamestown. Colonists could receive hundreds of acres of land depending on the number of people they brought with them. This Headright System led to the formation of plantations. Plantations were large farms that grew cash crops and used slaves to work the fields. Now when you look at this picture, you see a picture of a cotton plantation. You see all the slaves in the field picking the cotton. Oftentimes plantations were located next to rivers in order to get their product to markets faster. The founding of Jamestown eventually led to the colony of Virginia and the formation of the Southern Colonies. Now Jamestown was located approximately here, and as this area grew, the larger colony of Virginia grew from Jamestown. Virginia eventually became the first of the Southern Colonies, which you see right here. A second colony of significance was founded in 1620. Plymouth was founded by a group called the Pilgrims. They wanted to escape religious persecution, which means punishment, by the Church of England. So here are the Pilgrims, and they came over on a boat called the Mayflower. Before going ashore, the male passengers of the Mayflower signed a document called the Mayflower Compact. They agreed to form their own government and to obey its laws. This was an early example of self-government. And here you see a picture of the male passengers signing the Mayflower Compact. Unlike the adventurers at Jamestown, the Pilgrims came to America with entire families and the willingness to work to make their colony successful. If you look at this picture, you see an example of this. A variety of activities are going on, like washing clothes, guys going out going hunting, bringing in firewood. The entire colony is participating in work. Very different from what you saw in Jamestown. During the first winter, weather conditions and lack of food took a heavy toll among the colonists. The climate was much different than that of Jamestown. The Pilgrims had to deal with colder weather, shorter growing seasons, and poor rocky soil. Now if you look at this is a picture of a New England winter, much different than the types of winters they had at Jamestown. In 1621, the neighboring Wampanoag tribe showed the Pilgrims how to adapt to their new environment, especially in the growing of corn. Later that fall, after a successful harvest, the Pilgrims feasted with them in the first Thanksgiving celebration. And this picture you see here is an artist's rendition of the first Thanksgiving celebration between the Indians and the Pilgrims. The founding of Plymouth in 1620 eventually led to the formation of the New England Colonies. Now here you see the colony of Plymouth, which eventually evolves into the colony of Massachusetts, which becomes part of the New England Colonies. To review, Jamestown, the first permanent English settlement, was founded in 1607 for economic reasons. The growing of tobacco caused the colony to make a great deal of money and led to the formation of the Southern Colonies. Plymouth was founded in 1620 by Pilgrims for religious reasons. This colony survived with the help of the local Indians and eventually led to the formation of the New England Colonies.